Player ratings then. Wow, what a performance. None of us expected that, did we? What a wonderful, wonderful sport football is. Maybe Farhad Moshiri was right. It is about glory one day and devastation the next day, or whatever shite he come out with. Everton have drawn 1-1 with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. A result that I don't think any of us could have predicted, especially when we saw Everton starting 11 an hour before kick-off, and we saw Rafa Benitez had given opportunities to John Joe Kenny, Jared Branthwaite, Ellis Sims, Lewis Dobbin obviously on the bench, Tyler Onyango on the bench. We had Anthony Gordon in there as well. I think we all sort of looked at this game and felt that it could very much be a comfortable 3 points for Chelsea, but it wasn't, and it wasn't because Everton stepped up. Yes, Chelsea weren't at their best and they missed key chances in the first half, and yes, Everton gifted them key chances in the first half as well, but especially in that second half, we were absolutely fantastic. The game plan by Rafa Benitez clearly was to sit back and put 11 men behind the ball and defend, and it worked. It really, really worked. As I said, yes, they had chances in the first half and maybe should have, taken those chances. Jordan Pickford was absolutely outstanding today. Absolutely outstanding. Never question that fella's quality ever again. He's in the top 3 goalkeepers in the Premier League. He's generally world class. Genuinely world class. Sorry, not generally. Genuinely world class. I thought the young lads were absolutely outstanding. Jared Branthwaite getting his first goal for Everton, of course. What a goal it was as well. Gambled on it at the back post and a really, really nice ball in from Anthony Gordon. John Joe Kenny, I thought, played really, really well today. Anthony Gordon was fantastic. Best performance in a blue shirt. Well, a white shirt, but an Everton shirt in a while. Ben Godfrey, I thought, done well. I thought Ellis Sims done well as well. Lewis Dobbin when he come on. We were just very, very, very good today. And those young lads that we all sort of sat there an hour before kick-off and thought, oh, this is a risk, throwing them in at the deep end. Well, do you know what? Some of us maybe thought they were thrown in at the deep end with no armbands and no help and the inability to do that, doggy thing that you do to keep yourself afloat in the pool. But in reality, they were thrown in at the deep end and they were like Michael fucking Phelps, mate. They were like, see you later, bish, bash, bosh, 422 lengths in the space of 10 minutes. They were just absolutely outstanding. But anyway, let's get into the player ratings then, because that's what we're here for. We have done the instant match reaction. If you haven't checked that out, please do so. Jordan Pickford then, 10 out of 10 for me, said in the instant match reaction. So if you've watched that, I've half ruined Jordan Pickford's rating, really. But 10 out of 10 for me. I don't think there was one area of Jordan's game tonight. I don't think there was one thing that I looked at any point and thought, oh, you got away with one there, or oh, that could have been better, or oh, you should have done that different. It was a really, really professional performance by Jordan Pickford, and the type of performance that we've come to expect. I expect Jordan Pickford to put in performances like that week in, week out. Do you know why? Because he's an absolutely fucking fantastic goalkeeper. He is one of the best goalkeepers on this planet. I don't care what anybody says, and anybody that questions his England #1 space hasn't got a fucking clue about football, because this fella is absolutely immense. He was a leader today. This Everton team needed leaders tonight, obviously, with a lot of young lads in there, a couple of players making, their Premier League debuts or first starts in the Premier League for a long, long time. Very depleted squad. Other players in there that haven't really had good starts to the season at all. We needed those experienced players to step up, and I thought a couple of them did. I thought Michael Keane done well. I thought Ben Godfrey done well. I thought Jordan, as I mentioned, I thought a couple of them didn't particularly step up, but Jordan certainly was one that stepped up and just done everything to perfection. Made an unbelievable save to deny Mason Mount at 0-0 in the first half. Really, really key save. Made an absolutely fantastic save to deny Thiago Silva at 1-1 as well. Really, really good save. Made a couple of big saves in between as well. Done well when he needed to. When the ball comes to him with 5 minutes to go, he didn't just pick it up and rush it. He took his time. Time wasted, which is what, again, I hate seeing opposition teams do. But if Everton are doing it in the circumstances, I was absolutely made up to see it. And I just thought he was absolutely phenomenal. As I said, I don't see how you can look at Jordan Pickford and not give him a 10 out of 10 today. I really, really don't. I thought he was absolutely perfect. He was brilliant today. And I love Jordan Pickford. I do. The adversity that lad's come through, the inconsistencies come through. There was periods of Jordan's Everton career where people were saying we need a new goalkeeper, get him out. You're now looking at Jordan and he's the absolute least of our worries. He's grown up an awful lot in the last 12 to 18 months. The problem Jordan had post the 2018 World Cup is he almost come off of that maybe feeling like he was the dog's bollocks, and that was what, a couple of mistakes, and people got on his back, and the media jumped on his back because they're absolute idiots. Whereas he had a really good tournament for England this summer in the Euros, but he's kept it cool, he's kept his head, he's kept it calm, and he's understood. I think he's grown up an awful lot in the last couple of years, and he's understood, listen, just got to go out there and do what I need to do, and he done it to perfection today. So Jordan is getting a 10. John Joe Kenny is getting an 8 today, playing right wing back, of course. It was a couple of times when he was caught out of possession. There was a couple of times when I think he was a little bit keen to get involved in the play and ended up running into the centre of midfield. But do you know what? I don't mind that. Because he was working hard. He was putting pressure on the Chelsea defence, on the Chelsea attack. He was getting in their face. He was battling. He was fighting. He threw a couple of good challenges in as well, and he was physical. And that's what you need. We didn't need a defence that were going to stand off this Chelsea team and almost be afraid to get into them. Yes, we were very defensive, and yes, it was very much 10 men behind the ball. But John Joe Kenny, along with the majority of the other defenders, got into this Chelsea team. They threw the challenges in. They worked hard. I thought defensively he was sound today. Positional wise, yes, okay, there was a couple of times when he maybe got caught, but for the majority of the game defensively, I thought he was absolutely sound. A couple of balls come into the box that he dealt with his head, with his feet. Got down that right hand side a couple of times as well. And for a lad who, I think we all, or certainly the majority of Evertonians, had, sort of put to one side and almost come to this conclusion that he's nowhere near good enough. And I'm not by any stretch of the imagination saying that this one performance, decides that all of a sudden he is good enough and he should be starting week in, week out. I'm not saying that, but considering the low expectation we had for John Joe Kenny going into this game, I think he made a really, really good account of himself today. I do. He worked hard, he battled, defensively he was sound, positional-wise he wasn't too bad. And yeah, I thought, again, he looked really, really assured as well. There was a cross in the... there was a chance in the last... I think it was about the last 3 or 4 minutes for Chelsea. They had a free kick on the edge of the box. I think Ben Godfrey gave a free kick away in a silly area. And the camera, as it does on television, panned to the box to look at Everton's defence. And John Joe Kenny was there giving instructions out, making sure that they were tight, making sure that there was no space in behind. And lo and behold, the ball come in and we defended it really, really well. So... again, that's what you want to see. You could tell on his face he looked confident, he looked calm, he looked cool, he looked collected. And maybe that's because he's playing for a new contract. Maybe that's just because he had a one-off game. But I don't think you can... again, I thought he was very, very good tonight. So he's getting an 8. Mason Holgate's getting a 6.5. Unfortunately, can't say the same for Mason. Considering Mason Holgate is one of the more experienced Everton players, I think it was his 100th Premier League game for Everton, or 100th appearance for Everton today. He wasn't great. Now, okay, he settled down a lot in the second half, and he was a lot less involved in the game in the second half, and probably for the better, to be fair. And I wouldn't have been surprised if somebody within the coaching staff had a little bit of a word with him. But in that first half, he was very, very, very poor. Especially in that first 15-20 minutes, he gave the ball away on a number of occasions to Chelsea when we just didn't need that pressure on us that early on. He got caught a couple of times really, really easily. He made a couple of silly challenges really early on in the game as well. And he grew into the game and he got better as the game went on, and he became a little bit more cautious and a little bit more calm, I think, as the game went on. But he started really, really poorly. And, unfortunately... sometimes, he's got away with one there. He's got away with one on the fact that Chelsea weren't particularly great today. He's got away with one on the fact that Jordan Pickford had an absolutely fantastic, game of football and made some real big saves. But I thought in that first half he should have been doing better on a lot of occasions. Considering he's the experienced Premier League defender, it was Jared Branthwaite making those mistakes. I developed my hands up and said, you know what, that's fair enough. But it wasn't. It was an experienced Premier League defender making silly mistakes that he shouldn't have been making. So he's getting a 6.5. Michael Keane next to him. I'm going to give Michael Keane an 8 today. I actually thought he was really solid, to be honest with you. Again, Michael Keane goes through these spells of 1 week being absolutely fantastic and the next week being absolutely atrocious. And I suppose that's what Everton are at the moment. We're hot and cold FC, aren't we? 1 week we're brilliant and the next week we're absolutely shite. But I thought Michael Keane was, again, very, very solid today. Was he unbelievable? No. Was he absolutely amazing? Did he stop everything? No. I thought the defence in that first 20-25 minutes were very, 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 shaky, and were exploited an awful lot by this Chelsea team. I think they got in and around the box far too many times in that first half to create chances. But the second half, and as I said, the longer it got on, other than the the chance for, well, the goal, of course, from Mason Mount, which is a bad mistake by Ben Godfrey and by Abdoulaye Doucouré. Other than that, the goal and the header for Thiago Silva, I don't really think Chelsea had many clear-cut opportunities in that second half. Ruben Loftus-Cheek had an header which went over, but other than that, he didn't really threaten us an awful lot. And I thought Michael Keane was a part of that. Again, very much kept it to the basics, very much just sort of got his head down, worked hard, done what he needed to do. I thought he had a decent game today, so he's getting an 8. Jared Branthwaite then. Jared is getting a 9.5. I love this lad. I absolutely love this lad. I think he's boss. I think he's absolutely boss. I remember him coming in towards the end of the 2019-20 season, Carlo Ancelotti's first season in charge, and Carlo Ancelotti had to bring him in because of injuries to the squad. I think Mason Holgate had an injury at this point. Yerry Mina was probably injured because he's always injured. And Jared Branthwaite stepped in, and he was absolutely immense for 4 or 5 games. I remember he played against Aston Villa at Goodison, and we drew 1-1. I think Walcott scored in the last couple of minutes, and he was absolutely fantastic in that game. He was brilliant. And then obviously we didn't see much of him last season. He went out on loan to Blackburn, got quite a significant injury, come back. His Blackburn loan from all accounts, as I said, I can't say I watched them every week. It was okay. Some games he was good, some games he wasn't so good. But again, he showed today on arguably the toughest stage of them all. Listen, you've got 3 teams in this Premier League that are absolute light years ahead of everybody else. Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester City, and to go to Stamford Bridge against Chelsea and to put in that performance today was just immense. He seems like he steps up on the big stage, Jared Branthwaite, and I thought you could tell the confidence was oozing out of him in every sense. He made a couple of really good ball busting runs into the midfield with the ball. You can tell he understands his physical sort of side to his game, his big physique, his speed. He's good on the ball. He's quick decision making. He gets his foot in. He's proactive. And yes, as I said, positional wise, there's a couple of times that maybe he got caught and he could have done better, but I can't really fault him today. Got the goal, which, as I said in the instant match reaction, was a really good finish. It's easy to look at that goal and go, it's easy, it's just back post. But it's not like the ball drops on the back post and he reacts to it. He gambles on the ball being there. He's fully stretched. He gambles on nobody else getting to the end of it. And he gets his touch on it and it goes in and he gets a well-earned, well-deserved goal. I thought he was fantastic today. Jared Branthwaite, absolutely fantastic. And as I said before, this is a lad who, if Yerry Mina's going to spend the next however many months out injured, if Ben Godfrey's going to have to play left back and right back and everywhere else because of various other problems with the squad, I would have no problem with Jared Branthwaite starting frequent Premier League games, whether it be in a 4 or whether it be in a 5, because I just think he's got that cool, calm composure. And yes, he's got a lot to learn. Of course he has. And yes, he's not perfect. I'm not saying he is, judged on one game, but you can tell that there's all the makings to be a really good, solid defender in there, and I think he's I think he showed that on a number of occasions today. Ben Godfrey then, I'm going to give Ben Godfrey an 8 as well. Listen, he was at fault for the goal, there's absolutely no doubt in it. Again, I think his positional sense let him down. It's the only real thing that does let Ben Godfrey down, to be fair, is his positional sense. Sometimes he gets caught out of position too easily. He did that today. Mason Mount broke behind him. Now, okay, I do think Abdoulaye Doucouré has to take a quite significant amount of the blame as well, because it was a lazy attempt to pass the ball on a counter-attack which led us into that situation in the first place. However, Ben Godfrey should be doing better. He should be sacking his man. He should be sacking the run as a defender. But other than that, thought he got forward on a couple of occasions. He had one of his usual sort of absolutely unbelievably fast speed runs where he took the ball from the edge of our box to the edge of the Chelsea box. He played a nice little ball through to Doucouré, and unfortunately Doucouré couldn't wrap his foot around it. But again, it was a really dominant, present run, and I feel like at the moment we're starting to see the Ben Godfrey of last season. He struggled so far this season, Ben Godfrey, with injuries and with COVID and recovering from COVID, etc. By all accounts, he had it pretty bad. And you could see when he returned to the squad, even after his isolation and having a couple of weeks to get back to fitness, you could tell when he started playing footy again that he was nowhere near the level that he was at. And people put it down to it being a one-season thing, or, maybe he just wasn't that great last season, this, that and the other. And personally, for me, I think you could tell straight away he was nowhere near his physical level, i.e. his stature, his fitness, his speed, his physicality as what he was last season. And I feel like slowly but surely we're starting to see that side of him now. Who knows what's going to happen with Luca Dean and what the situation is with him. There's a lot of rumours floating about at the moment that Everton are, pretty much nailed on to sign a young left back from the Ukraine, from Dynamo Kiev. So who knows what the situation is with Luca Dean at the moment, and who knows what the situation will be in January with whoever we bring in. But I think at the moment I would have very little issue with Ben Godfrey continuing at left back, because I think we're seeing that physical side of him now that we saw last season. And as I said, I thought he was very, very good again today, other than the goal, which was disappointing. But other than that, I thought he was really solid. Abdoulaye Doucouré then in the midfield, I'm going to give him a 7 today. Again, a couple of really good runs through the middle, a couple of really good pieces of play, a couple of really good, holding the ball up and playing it off and using his physical strength and his physical determination. I think he was probably given the instruction from Rafa Benitez to not get a yellow card, considering we desperately need him for our next game, which of course we all thought was Sunday against Leicester. That game's been postponed, so it'll be Boxing Day against Burnley. So I don't think he was massively involved in the game, and maybe that was down to choice, and maybe that's why Rafa Benitez put a 5 at the back defence formation. As I've just said, he's at fault for the goal, in my opinion. Makes a really, really good run. He's got nobody really around him. He's got all the time in the world to pick the pass that he wants to pick, and it's sort of half-arsed, lazy, just tries to flick it to Anthony Gordon about 10 minutes after he should have passed it to Anthony Gordon originally. Chelsea win the ball back, players are out of position, they break, and Mason Mount goes and gets the goal. And that was a really, really dangerous ball to give away at that time, considering he gave it away so easily as well. There was no pressure on him. He could have ran it into the corner, he could have stepped and waited, could have played it earlier. It was almost just a lazy, I can't be arsed, there you go. And he's not like that, Abdoulaye Doucouré, usually. Maybe he's just a little bit, I don't know, fatigued at the moment, I don't know, but I do think he was at fault for the goal. And other than that, like I said, he wasn't massively in the game. But he worked hard, he battled, and ultimately he was key in Everton coming away with a point there. I think the whole midfield in that first half was massively overrun. We had no midfield whatsoever. The second half it got better, and they started to form a defensive unit, and Chelsea found it really difficult to get through us. But wasn't his best game today, Abdoulaye Doucouré. Andre Gomez then, he is getting a 6.5. Very similarly, to be fair, not his best game whatsoever. In that first half, I think very similar to Mason Holgate. I'd probably put Mason, Andre Gomez and Alex Iwobi in that segment of experienced players that should have done much better tonight, effectively, and maybe just aren't good enough to play for Everton. But he gave the ball away a couple of times in stupid areas in the first half. It was far too easy for Chelsea to play through him. Second half, obviously before he went off for Kabam, and he done okay. He done all right. He moved it a couple of times really well, used the strength. But as I said, overall, I don't think it was the greatest game of football for Andre Gomez today. I don't think he was massively involved whatsoever. Anthony Gordon then, first of the front three. Anthony Gordon is getting a 9. Could argue it was his best game in an Everton shirt today, to be fair. Thought he was absolutely outstanding. The cross for Jared Branthwaite's goal is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Really, really good ball in. Puts it in a really dangerous area, and an area that, we had to attack, and we did. His effort today was brilliant. His work rate. And one thing I mentioned in the instant match reaction I was really impressed with from Anthony Gordon was his ability to win fouls today. He sort of, I think he knew that we were never going to hold the ball for long periods of time, and he knew that the threat that Chelsea brought and the threat of Chelsea's quality of player. And there was a number of times when he had the ball in a good area and he had no one really around him, and instead of just lumping it forward and losing the ball or trying to be stupid with it and giving it away, he just won a foul. He done it on 2 or 3 occasions in really good areas. He frustrated them by putting himself in a position where he knew he was going to get kicked, and then he went over and he won the ball. And he also, a couple of times, when going over, made sure that he hit the ball with his hand to emphasise that the referee had to make a decision. And more often than not, the referee's decision was to give Everton the foul. And I thought that was really, really clever. Showed a maturity to his game today, Anthony Gordon. And, not to mention his performance, his work rate, his desire, his energy, his passion was all absolutely excellent. And his ball into the box for Jared Branthwaite was just immense. So Anthony Gordon is getting a 9. Ellis Sims is going to get a 7.5. I actually was quite impressed with Ellis Sims today. Seen a couple of Blues on Twitter having a go at him and saying, oh, he's not good enough, this, that and the other. I thought he was okay, considering he had minimal, and I mean minimal, service into the box in that first half, and for the 10-15 minutes he was on in the second half. I thought he done well. There was a couple of times where the ball got played to him and he chested it down really, really well. And, he played it off and he won a couple of really important headers against... he's playing against fucking Thiago Silva. This is a 19-year-old lad who's never played a minute of Premier League football in his career, playing against a multi-time Champions League winner, a World Cup semi-finalist fan, a player that he'll have been watching growing up thinking, oh my God, it's Thiago Silva. And he was winning headers, he was putting himself about, he was working hard. Yes, he didn't score from 30 yards or create a chance, but I think to look at Ellis Sims today and say he was poor is wrong in my opinion. I thought everything he had to do, he done well. A couple of really clever flicks as well. Yes, he wasn't involved going forward, but that's because we had about 2% possession in the first half and he got taken off quite early on into the second half. So I was impressed with him today and I want to see a lot more of him. He gets a 7.5. And Alex Iwobi. He's getting a 5 today, and that's probably quite a high score because I'm in quite a good mood. I just don't really know where to go with Alex Iwobi today. Yes, again, as I said, we were heavily under pressure in that first half. We didn't have a lot of opportunities. We didn't have the ball an awful lot. But when we did have the ball, and when Alex Iwobi specifically had the ball, and we were counter-attacking and we were getting forward and we were trying to create, he just seems incapable of making a good decision. He seems incapable of making a correct decision. Every decision he makes is wrong. Every decision he makes is the wrong decision. And I really don't know where to go with Alex Iwobi, to be honest with you. I don't. There was one chance where he was effectively on his own and the Chelsea defender was here and Abdoulaye Doucouré was over there in tons of space. Might have been offside, but it doesn't matter. Tons of space. He only had to play him through and he was one-on-one with Mendy. I think that was at 0-0 as well. And he decides to turn and go for John Joe Kenny instead, who was marked quite quickly. So I don't know. I honestly don't know where to go with Alex Iwobi. But again, he was not involved in any sense of the imagination. They worked hard, ran round, worked hard, but just not good enough. Onto the bench then. Lewis Dobbin is getting a 7.5. Thought he was really, really lively when he come on. Really lively. Added that bit of intensity. Added that bit of energy, pace. Got at the Chelsea defence. Ran constantly. Forced them into making a couple of errors. And as I said in the instant match reaction, if I'm Rafa Benitez, I really hope that he doesn't look at Lewis Dobbin when we've got a full fit squad and think, no, I'm not going to bring you on, I'm going to bring Rondon on instead. He should be bringing Lewis Dobbin on because he proved today that he can get at teams. He's fresh energy, he'll work hard, he'll run round, he'll put teams under pressure. And let's not forget, this is, we're playing the European champions today. We were playing a challenger for the league. Had Lewis Dobbin have replicated that performance against, let's say, a Crystal Palace or a Brentford, I think he'd have got a lot more, we'd have got a lot more out of it in terms of chances and, opportunities. We were playing a team that passed the ball around like it's no one's business today. You're doing that against Crystal Palace, I think you're getting a lot more out of that. So I thought he was really good when he come on, energetic, ran round, worked hard. A couple of times he had to, defend the ball or work with the ball as well, and he was really good at doing that. So I was really impressed with him. So he's getting a 7.5 today. Tyler Onyango is getting a 6. Obviously, great to see him come on, but he's getting a 6 because I can't remember if he really touched the ball. Obviously, he come on in the last sort of 5-10 minutes or so for Anthony Gordon. Worked hard, ran round, kept his position, always followed his man and didn't leave a Chelsea player unmarked. And whilst, he wasn't massively involved, he played a pivotal part in that last 5 minutes of seeing the game out for Everton. And then John-Philip Gbamin, I'm going to give Gbamin a 7 as well. You know what? Thought it was the right substitution at the right time. Andre Gomes at this time wasn't doing anything. In fact, didn't really do anything for the entirety of the game, to be fair. But it was the right time to bring on Gbamin. He brought that physicality. He got himself in the front of the ball a couple of times and managed to keep hold of it and make himself just a nuisance, to that Chelsea team. And it was a really good time to bring on a player who was going to make himself a nuisance to this Chelsea side. And that's exactly what Gbamin did. So he is getting a 7. There you go then. They are the player ratings. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to check out the instant match reaction if you haven't already. I don't quite know how Everton have come out with a point at the end of that game, but I'm not fucking complaining. Get in. A point is an absolutely wonderful result considering the circumstances. I thought everyone worked their bollocks off today, and I thought those young players deserve as much credit as they can possibly get because they were all absolutely fantastic. Big thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, please do leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. Really do appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Massive thanks for watching. Get in, up the toffees. We'll see you soon.